Yeah, and maybe I could just add at this point, but one thing that doesn't always come across so well on the edited video is just that the level of attunement at this point in this session, and because my system is just completely in this world at the moment, this primary consciousness, and you know, it's not, I'm not imagining what's happening or watching what's happening. I'm feeling everything, and this opening like a flower and closing down again just feels like everything to me at the moment. So Sergeant Eric's attunement is absolutely crucial to to that experience, and the my memory of this session was they were using long pauses and a lot of care.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a good time to introduce that element of this, folks. So something you're not getting in this particular editing of the video is that, Charlie's system was, I mean, deeply in a slowed down opioid response kind of dissociative state, right? And so he would have these long periods of time of like a minute and a half or 2 minutes or something like that, where, we might ask him a question and then 2 minutes later he'll respond to the question, right? And so you're not seeing that here. We didn't sort of, we don't expect you to sit through that. But I think a really important part of the attunement in this particular session was that we did not rush him. We had this pretty clear sense that he has a particular pacing, and if we came in and we asserted, tried to pull him into a faster pacing than what his system wanted to go at, that we would lose him. We would lose that bond. We would lose that attunement. And I think it's because we just gave so much space for his system to answer these questions that, it just made my sense in the session was that that was an essential part of the bonding. I don't know if you can say anything more about that, Charlie, but.
Yeah, I think you put that perfectly, Sarge. Yeah, that was such an important piece, and I'm glad you explained that.
Charlie is so still in here. You can't tell that we're making these video cuts that cut out 2 minutes of blank time or something like that. And then there's these periods of time when the screen goes blank and then it comes back, or the screen goes black and then it comes back on. I put those in there specifically to denote this was an extra long period of time, right? So yeah, so there's a whole element of timing here that you're not picking up because of the edit, but I think it was an essential part of the bond that was taking place.
Yeah.
All right.
And one quick thing, and that I'll add is, Charlie, I'm really glad you named how immersive this was for you, how real, because if you watch videos where someone's riding a wave of state 2 fear and panic, it's very obviously immersive. You can look at that person and they are fully in their trauma response. Their nervous system is fully pressurized, and you can say that person is fully immersed. In this video, it's not as obvious, but you are fully immersed in your experience of dissociation here. So thank you for including that part. And again, the pressurization is coming because of the relational context here. And because there's a back and forth dialogue about it, and you're not just off dissociating by yourself.
I love that your system is testing.
Feel quite vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Hypervigilant in this open state.
Yeah.
I have to be ready to snap shut a split second.
Mm-hmm.
So Charlie's telling us very clearly how attuned we need to be to his boundaries. He says he's very vulnerable in this open state. He's ready to snap shut in an instant. So that is just a very clear message for us to, well, particularly Saj now, to be really attuned to his boundaries.
Yeah, I don't want you to get any closer at the moment.
Aha, I was wondering. Yeah.
Just where you are is okay.
Good. Yeah, so I heard you ask, I heard you request that I not come any closer.
Mm-hmm.
And that is absolutely fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like a pool, and you're sort of standing over the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Looking down into me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of open, like you could drop something in here.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, I love this, right? So if you're the image that Charlie's describing is he feels like a pool and completely open pool of water that I'm standing over and I could drop something into him. So, I mean, just look at what that relationship is like there. This is, I mean, my sense is we're looking at a child that is completely vulnerable and dependent upon the adult in their life. And the adult can be, wonderful, like, it's necessary to have the adult there, but the adult can also do damage. The adult can be careless. And so again, I think what we're seeing here is just like, what is this delicate balance that's emerging here between, it's important that you're there, but don't come too close.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we're sensing into right now.
Feels a bit kind of delicate, poised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in this sense of me being close to the pool, do you have a sense of whether I would do that or whether, I have any kind of maliciousness in me to do that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Would you like me to back away from the pool?
No, just be careful.
Oh, okay. I will definitely be careful.
So there's Saj offering solution with boundaries. Would you like me to back away from the pool? Before that, in case you didn't hear, he was asking if Charlie perceived him as being malicious at all. Charlie didn't know, and so Saj helped him test it out by saying, would you like me to back away? And Charlie says, I think he said, it's okay, but be careful. Yeah, so there it is. I want the connection, but don't stay very attuned.
I want to thank you for trusting me enough to allow me this close to the pool. Yeah. So I'm still here. I'm looking into you.
Everything just feels a little harder and protected.
Mm-hmm. Do you mean you went into a protection?
I felt like there's just a little bit of hardness that came in between us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things went a bit plasticky.
Did something happen between us that caused the...
I thought some part of me thought that you might be whispering to someone.
Oh, yeah.
I love this piece of attunement here. I can remember watching this very clearly. So Charlie says something feels hard and plasticky, like something's between us. I had the impulse to say, you know, that's completely fine, I'll stay here, that kind of thing. But Saj asked him, did something happen? And that question allowed for kind of a repair and a really fine-tuned attunement and level of care. So we watch how this plays out, and then probably Saj, you'll add to that.
Yeah, buddy, I was not whispering.
Okay.
And I'm really, really glad that you told me that. Oh, that makes me sad. Yeah. It really touches me that you're that sensitive. In fact, if I need to say something to somebody else out here, I'll let you know that I'm going to do that before I do that. So you know.
Okay.
It's all out in the open.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Saj is letting him know he didn't whisper, and that he feels sad that was Charlie's experience, and that if he needs to do any talking, he'll just let Charlie know. He'll keep it all out in the open.
So the what's going on here is we're getting Charlie's internal world around relationship, right? And so initially it was just, we were just moving along like we were before, and then he started saying something hard came between us and starting to feel plasticky. And typically that's another, like a defense mechanism that the system has. When like there's a sense of being betrayed or something bad happening, we tend to move into more distance, more alienation, more feelings of unreality, right? So, and that can involve either the person themselves feeling like they're made of plastic, like I'm not here, I'm just like a plastic doll, or it could involve the people in the outside world becoming plastic and unreal and things like that, right? And so that was happening here. And the question was like, oh, did something happen? Because that was notably different than what was happening before. And I think what we're getting here is a really beautiful piece of negative transference, right? We're getting this sense in Charlie's system that if you didn't hear it, he thought that I leaned over and I was whispering something to somebody else in the room about him. A little betrayal, a little bit of distrust or something like that. And so if this was we have a couple of options here. We might, if this was a different session, we might allow that. We might sort of allow the negative transference to come up and that sense of betrayal to come up because it's there for a reason, right? It's not delusional. It's coming from some true experience that the client has had, and it's manifesting in the psychedelic session. So we might just allow that and just say, yeah, notice what it's like for you that I'm whispering to somebody else. So, but in this case, because we're so clearly going for corrective experiences, we're so clearly going for solutions that the system does not have in place, then we're purposefully batting away. We're purposefully denying the negative transference role that's coming up and being handed over to us. And so that's why I'm going into this correction. Like, no, I'm so sorry. That's not what was happening. And if ever I need to talk to somebody else in the room, I will clear it with you first. Charlie, anything to add to that moment?
Not really, except for, again, just to really emphasize, how much this is happening in primary consciousness, that this experience is just everything to me at the moment. And I'm completely inhabiting what I know is an ambivalent attachment style, but I'm not seeing it at all from an adult perspective. I'm completely in that reality, so everything that's happening, even if it's kind of happening through a kind of metaphor and symbol, it feels like a very, very young place that just has very, very ambivalent feelings about possible caregivers or or people in general. So yeah, I think that's why this model is just so special, because the corrective experience is happening in that place, not at a point removed from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Eric.
No, you go, Sash.
I was just gonna, I think that's beautiful, Charlie, and that's something that's such an important like piece to bring here, like, because we're watching this from the outside, right? We're watching this from our kind of ordinary waking conscious mind, and we're dreaming into what it might be like for you. But you saying that, like, no, I did not have my adult mind on board at all. I did not have a meta perspective of what was going on. I was so immersed in the ambivalent attachment dynamic here. I really thought you were leaning over and whispering to me, and it really did cause me to like have this reaction, right? It's an immersive experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know what happened. There was someone taking notes in the room, and they were taking them quite loudly. I don't know if they were using a pencil or what, but it sounded very much like whispering. And I'm pretty sure that's what you heard, Charlie. So that note taking set us up for this beautiful piece of attunement and solution.
Well, wonderful for happy accidents that happened in the psychedelic session. That it was an opportunity to like have a better sense of communication and repair.
Yeah. And yeah, it also speaks to that there was enough solution there for Charlie to trust, to be honest about what was going on, and share something pretty vulnerable like that.
Yeah, thank you for that, Eric. Right, because for somebody to tell you that they don't trust you requires trust, right? It requires some sort of investment on their part into the relationship, right? So whenever somebody does that to me, whenever they hand me like a piece of bad news, like, I think this about you, it's so wonderful. It's honor. It's an honor to receive that from somebody. Like in their complaint, their upset, it means that they care, that they're invested in the relationship that you have with them.
I feel like you're really trusting me by letting me know that there was a little rupture that happened.
Yeah.
Now keep testing. Keep seeing what it's like out here. And by the way, if you have to close on a moment's notice, that's okay too. Because I think I'm getting the sense that maybe there's some part of you that actually enjoys being out here. And so I trust that even if you have to close quickly, that over time and slowly, I think you'll come back out. Yeah.
So just in case you're not hearing that too well, Saj is inviting Charlie to keep noticing what it's like out here, and essentially in relationship. And then he's naming, but if you need to close, that's okay. Again, that really good caregiving example of it's you get to choose, and if you close down, I'll stay here, that kind of thing. And then Saj names that, and I trust that you'll come back, because it seems like part of you enjoys being out here or wants to be out here.
Yeah, and Charlie, I think this level of you being out here is fine. I don't need more.
It feels okay. Kind of safe.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I'm kind of connected to a longing to to connect to you. There's lots in the way of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just watch that. Can you speak to both the longing or what that might look like and also what's in the way?
Yeah, the longing imagining you as like a curious little boy who's kind of playing around the edge of this pool. And wants to reach out and connect.
Yeah.
And there's some other stuff which is a bit more shadowy that's kind of warning against that.
Yeah.
And making me feel like I'm further away again, deeper.
Yeah. Do you want to speak to the shadowy?
So Charlie is saying here that he feels, I think what he's saying is he feels like, where he's imagining Saj as a little boy hanging out on the edge of the pool, which is him, and wanting to play. And that's the kind of longing piece. And then there's another shadowy piece that's there as well. And Saj asks him, do you want to say more about the shadowy piece? You could imagine it'd be tempting to develop the connection with the little boy, but we want to bring solution to the hardest places. That's where the most benefit is going to be. So Saj is inviting Charlie to name more of the shadowy pieces that are here.
It's like there's a big black globe like just appeared. It's just between us. Pushing me back.
Yeah. So the big black globe is there. And I'm here too. I'm on the other side of it. I've got patience. And if you needed me to reach out for you or anything like that, if anything like that would help, just let me know. Again, I'm not going to move without your consent.
Part of me really wants to do that, to reach out. It feels stark there.
Yeah.
So folks, this is incredibly useful, this moment, right? Like, again, we're talking about ambivalence here. We're talking about ambivalent attachment. And so, Charlie's system is saying, there's something big between us and part of me wants to reach out, but I'm feeling stuck. That's what ambivalence feels like. It's not pleasant. And part of what this process is like is to really surface the dilemma, right? Surface the experience of what is actually going on in the system. So instead of just being comfortably ambivalent and having a lot of dissociation on board, Charlie is actually associating to his impulses for a relationship while his impulses for safety and separation are still playing out. So this is beautiful. We're just going to keep letting his system kind of deepen and associate and continue to express what the actual programming looks and feels like.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize, like, this was a part that took me a while. This is a approach that took me a while to really understand, because there's such an impulse to work toward the connection and focus on, how to increase connection and so on, and essentially try to help him feel better sometimes.
Try and rescue. try and rescue
and
somebody.
rescue from this awful place. But actually, what we're just trying to allow the fullness of the experience to reveal itself, so that the solution can go into the deepest places. And if you start working too much on connection too soon, you're shortcutting, you're missing in really important pieces. It's not, it's probably still going to have some benefit, but you're stopping the process earlier than you could if you kept allowing it to unfold as we are here.
Yeah. Like if I at some point in the session, without like asking Charlie, if I just got up and sat beside him and took his hand in my hand, we would be overriding so much in the system, right? We would be blowing past so many necessary ambivalent reactions that we want to have play out and show up in the session. Yeah, so we're really kind of going at the pacing that the client system needs to manifest.
Charlie, anything you want to add before I continue here?
Yeah, I mean, I just really what Saj just said, I felt like that's just so important. And from my experience of doing quite a bit of medicine work, how often I've kind of allowed those things to happen, but without realizing that I'm just kind of dissociating through those experiences. So, my adult self is saying, yeah, sure, I'll take this hand or I'll accept this hug, but on some level, like there's places in me which are kind of screaming out in terror at that. So, I think that's what's so exquisite about this work, and particularly the ketamine really sort of, for me anyway, that really kind of shows up in a very granular on a very granular level, that that kind of, where that attunement is so sensitive. So yeah.
Nice Charlie.
Here we go.
Yeah, so let me just let you know that even if you can't reach out, we're still connected over this distance. I can see you. I can hear you. I hear that you have an impulse to be closer. Yeah, so even at this distance, even with the globe between us, we're still connected. Yeah, in fact, I'm curious to know more about you. I want to know what it's like to be in open pool like this.
So Saj is not obviously just letting Charlie hang out in his awful state or his stuck place. He's still working the solution from where he's at as much as he can, and not leaving Charlie alone in it. He's not jumping over there to sit beside him and grab his hand, but he's also not leaving him alone with it.
Yeah, I'm not going away. We're closely attuned to the defense and the distance that needs to be here. Yeah.
I want to know if you're okay and how you're doing.
Yeah, I feel like more like a boy trapped underneath something.
Ah, trapped underneath the pool?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you are.
Yeah. I can feel the weight on me. In this moment, it feels nice. It feels okay. Feels safe.
The weight feels safe?
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad. Yeah.
There's something that tells me it's not it's not the best option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Charlie's just hit a pocket of dissociation that first felt good, and often dissociation does. And then pretty quickly finds that there's something else that's telling him it's not. You know, these are the nuances you pick up because of the relational process of the you know, this is what happens when you really reassociate to it instead of just being on your own in it.
I would say this is really good news, right? So on the one hand, so this is another version of an open flower and a closed flower, right? And so, but the language is changing around here. Initially, it was, oh, I'm under this weight of something, but the word that Charlie, you used was I'm trapped under it, right? And then he went on to say, but it feels good, right? That I'm here. But folks, again, we're looking to have a person associate enough to the defense that the dark side of the defense begins to show up. So in other words, Charlie's feeling the goodness of being this like hidden away and protected, but he's at the same time, then he's saying like, wait, there's an inkling here. There's some little glimmer that I know that it's not the best for me. There's something along that side that is starting to make its way into awareness that like, oh, this is not so great anymore. We're just letting that happen all by itself. Yep.
Charlie, anything from you?
No, just to add, that's such a feature of my experiences with this dissociation, is that often it feels good, like it's safe, it's predictable, I'm not going to come to any harm, and often it shows up being completely trapped or buried or frozen in kind of rock. But I think I know this is a session on solution, but one of the things that took me a while to realize about the model is part of it is kind of this process of ruining dissociation, and I'm kind of ruining it for myself by associating to it in this moment. But if dissociation becomes a place which isn't so great, then there's more, you can start to have more movement in the system towards something different.
Charlie, you gave away the punchline in the best possible way, which is, folks, which is the fact that we're doing a dirty trick here, right? Like we're being so gentle and so loving, and so like surprised and at the dissociation and supportive of it being here, but it's all to ruin it, right? And we want to ruin it. Like we don't want a little kid hanging out trapped in some world as their only way of dealing with the things that have happened to them. We want to allow it in order for a much, much better solution to actually show up. And, relationship is a far better solution than dissociation is. Okay.
Yeah, this whole thing is Saj basically saying, hey, I'm another solution over here. If we stay with this long enough, you'll get to see that I'm a solution for this, that that you're going to appreciate more than this one that you're in, this dissociated solution.
Yeah, and I think we have a few 100 million years of biology and evolution on our sides when we do that, right? Like, we are hardwired as social animals. We are hardwired to go to relationship, to go to mom, to dad, to family when things get scary for us. The only time a child goes to this kind of dissociation is when when the good defense, like relationship, is not available to them. Right. So we're trusting something really beautiful about our natures here, which is to say, we're trusting that if we stack somebody's dissociative capacity right next to their relational capacity, their relational impulses, we're trusting that the intelligence of the system will always go for relationship. And it's a good bet to make. Unless somebody's had like a ton of programming that relationship is dangerous, which many of us have, then they're going to go towards relationship. And if they have had that really negative programming around relationship being dangerous, then great, that's what we're going to process, right? That's why we're like not jumping in. That's why we're not speeding the process along and overriding Charlie's system here. There's enough threat in relationship that it's not 100% an easy solution for him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I've done solution sessions where I'm on the other side of the room with my eyes closed, but still keeping a dialogue going. So helping them the client to feel as safe as possible, but still have connection. Okay, here we go.